to another episode of the Minding My Temple podcast with your host, me, Tasha Temple. Now, we're going to get straight into it today because I want to make sure we have enough time to talk about what's most important. But first, you guys know I've got to dive right into my segment I love to call Minding My Business. This segment is all about what you're up to for your own self-care, for your own self-nourishment, for your own self-fun, and creating that balance in your life in regards to things you love to do. I always say that you can't tend to anybody else unless you mind your business first. So what I'm here to do is share with you what I do to mind my business from week to week, okay? So this week, what I'm doing to mind my business is really getting back into having some balance with my social life and social activities. I realized that during COVID, I took things way super serious. Okay, you guys. So I'm one of those people who was like uber cautious, probably way overly cautious and, way too analytical about it and way too strict with my personal guidelines. And so here's some things that I have been doing for the past 2 years. So one, I definitely still wear my mask everywhere I go. And this is just a personal thing. I'm not saying you have to do that or you could do whatever you want to do. I'm just telling you what I do that makes me comfortable. So I still wear a mask everywhere. And yes, y'all, I still double mask. Like, I know I'm terrible. It's like I'm a hypochondriac. So I wear a surgical mask underneath an N95 mask still to this day. I also get tested every week. Yeah, y'all. I go get tested every single week. And I do a rapid and a PCR every week. Like, I have a whole routine where I go on Friday morning and get tested to make sure that all of my activities during the week, because I work with the public, that if I'm interacting and hanging out with my friends, I'm okay, but yet I'm also still wearing a mask. However, I haven't really been hanging out with my friends. And so I, again, have been overly cautious. And I think one thing that made me overly cautious is in my group of loved ones and in my group of friends, I'm the only one who interacts with the public on a regular basis. So I'm not always around like my COVID circle, like the people I just hang around in COVID, like those safe people that are in my circle and environment. I really just deal with any and everybody, and people I don't know, people I do know. So I interact with so many different people that I got really cautious about who I'm around and, exposing people outside of myself to whatever germs I may pick up along the way. And so, I realized that being in COVID for 2 years, I think I'm now at my COVID fatigue point and started to feel just not like myself. And so I started to feel a little sad, a little irritated, frustrated, agitated. And I know that people around me like, what's wrong with you, girl? Like, something up with you. And I realized that there is a social component to my life that I really need. And I'm an introvert, to be really honest. And so during COVID, I was okay, like being inside and kind of being to myself. But it got to a point where even in being my introverted self, that I lacked balance. So I didn't have like a lot of those girl moments that I have with my friends or just hanging out in social circles and settings, just to give you that interaction and connection with others. And so this week I realized my need for social interaction after I had it. So I ventured out the entire weekend, y'all, okay? It started off on Friday. So I have a few friends who are in Atlanta who choose to do like this networking event where we highlight, Black businesses and Black alcohol and get people together to network and connect. And so I went to one of those events on Friday. Yeah, I did go with my mask. I was probably the only one in there with my mask on, but that's okay. That's totally okay. I felt okay, even though I got mask shamed. And it was a good evening. Most of the people in there were people I know, were basically like my crew. And so I felt really good about that. But I realized I needed that time to kind of get out of the house. Not only just get out the house, but like put clothes on and like put makeup on and feel like I looked good. Like, that's important too. Like, I wanted to feel pretty and sexy. And so like I put some clothes on and put on like a little makeup, and I just got my hair done because I found this great lady in Atlanta who specializes in curls, and my curls are getting back popping now. So I was feeling good about myself, y'all. And so I did that on Friday. And then on Saturday, I decided like I was gonna get up and go to yoga. So I get up Saturday morning, go to hot yoga. So I'm feeling good after that. And then I go to my garden, and unfortunately, you guys, at the garden, all 144 of my seedlings have died. But it just encouraged me to like get back on the wheel and let's get it going. And then after leaving the garden, I decided to go to a friend of mine's 50th birthday celebration, which I was nervous about because when I heard the word party, I was like, oh Lord, party, I don't know how I feel about that. But when I got there, the setting was awesome. So she had tables set up for everyone. We had food prepared for us. There was a little dancing area, everyone had a really good time. And again, it ended up being one of those smaller social circles, but it gave me the opportunity to get out and socialize. And then on Sunday, y'all, I went out all 3 days. So on Sunday, it's another one of my best friend's birthdays as well. And so we had a really amazing lunch where we sat outside by the Chattahoochee River here in Atlanta and had seafood and drinks and talked and laughed literally for like 4 hours, y'all. So I realized that in my quest and efforts to talk to you guys about balance, I have to be honest with myself and acknowledge and take responsibility for the areas where I'm not exercising and living balanced. And so I definitely realize now that it's important for me to have those social interactions and time to make like memories and time to laugh with my friends and time to just get out and look good. All of that is super important, and I'm glad I got an opportunity to do that this weekend. And so if you guys are in a rut and you're feeling like you've been in this COVID rut and COVID fatigue for a little while, get out. The weather's breaking. Find something that you feel safe doing and do it. Go make memories. Go laugh, you guys. COVID ain't going nowhere. So do your best to live your life in a way that you feel still safe and comfortable. And that's what I'm doing to mind my business. Now, this isn't a PSA to tell you guys what you should be doing. I'm just simply sharing those areas in my life where I can recognize where I'm not balanced, and hopefully it can encourage you guys to look at where you can improve on your balance in your life as well. So I'm going to include social outings like every week, and I'm going to come back and tell y'all all about them. Now, what I really want to talk to you guys today is about the hard truth about dieting and also the facts. And the reason for that is a lot of people have been coming to me talking about what diet they're on, and they want to lose weight or they want to get their health in order. And I really want to get down to the nitty-gritty about dieting and my educated responses about that, just to be honest. So just know that I'm coming from a place of someone who has a background in physically studying how nutrition impacts the body. So I'm a registered dietitian, and I'm also a certified diabetes educator. And so not that I am saying everything is absolute, but I am considered a food, health, and wellness expert. And so I just encourage you guys to listen to someone who's studied it for a while, right? So I know we hear a lot of times from our friends and from our family and from random personal trainers and from, the internet and things like that about dieting, but I promise you I'm gonna give you some tips that can help you navigate it in a way that's going to work for you. Just listen, all right? Now, first I'm gonna talk about what is diet. We don't even know what that means, right? So when you look up the word diet, or when I define diet, what comes to mind is it's food restrictive. So they're going to use words like restrictive and eliminate. And so diet is food restrictive and restricting, and it's about eliminating and elimination. Now, let me tell you the impact that restricting food and eliminating food has on the body. So when you restrict energy from your body, it starts to decrease your metabolism over time. Because your body, in order to work effectively, needs all the nutrients from all the different food groups. So your food groups are protein, carbohydrates, and fat. And so if we eliminate any one of those food groups, your body starts to work ineffectively. The first thing to go is your metabolism. What your metabolism is your body's ability to burn calories. So it's the way your body burns the energy. So just as like, you think about putting gas and oil and transmission fluid in your car, when you use it, that's letting you know how effective the car is working. So as you use your food, it lets you know how effective your body is working. So you want to be able to use all of that throughout like the life cycle in a way that's effective. So the first thing that goes when you are doing elimination and restricting is your metabolism, which controls, again, the body's ability to burn calories. Now, essentially, this is how it works. The higher your metabolism, the more calories you burn, the greater weight loss you have, right? Now, if I restrict calories, I may lose weight in the beginning because I'm restricting them, but over time, I am damaging my body's ability to lose calories and thus decreasing my metabolism over time. You guys also know that age decreases metabolism as well. So it's like a double whammy. So as I'm aging and as I'm dieting through the years, I'm losing my ability to burn calories. Thus the reason that people constantly do diets, because they're continuously ruining that metabolism. So I'll tell you how the cycle goes. So say I completely restrict a food group, right? Yeah, I might lose weight quickly, but more than likely after even a year or less of being on that diet, I'm not gonna be able to maintain it, so then I gain weight. So say I lost 20 pounds. Because I've now reduced my metabolism or my body's ability to use food, I now have gained 30 pounds, right? Not just the 20 pounds I lost, but now I've gained back the 20 pounds and then an additional 10 because now my body cannot use the food anymore like it used to. And so now the next diet, I have to try to lose 30 instead of the 20. And so if that happens consecutively, so every year I gain an additional 10 pounds because I've kind of damaged my metabolism, then over time you're gonna end up over years just heavier in general and constantly trying to chase that. Now here's the thing. So dieting also decreases your muscle tone, because when you do restrictive dieting, your body likes to work easy. It doesn't like to work hard because it wants to preserve your life. So when it does the hard things, it knocks off years of your life. So it says, you know what, I'm gonna do this the easy way. And so when people do elimination diets, or that's what a diet is, eliminating and restricting, you often first lose your muscle tone. Now your muscle tone is where you burn the most calories, again, thus increasing your metabolism. And so when you lose your muscle tone, it's because it's easy to lose. So your body's ability to burn fat takes a lot of work. And your body's like, I don't want to have to do that. And so when you eliminate and restrict calories significantly, the first thing you're going to lose is muscle tone. Now also remember that as we are talking about health, muscle is real important for a lot of things. So muscle is important for our ability to move and our agility. So just like moving arms, moving legs, talking, all that requires muscle tone. Muscle is also around your bones. And so muscle also makes your bones stronger, which automatically get weaker as we get older. So it prevents things like falls and injury. So muscle is really important. Muscle is also the main thing that your organ tissue is made of. So think about your major organs. So your heart, your lungs, your pancreas, your kidneys, your liver, all of those things are made of muscle tissue. And so imagine the first thing to go when we're dieting is the muscle that helps us to move and be strong and agile and prevent breaks and falls. And it also is the things that keep our organ tissue intact. Imagine losing all of that ongoing every time we do a diet, okay? So that's the things about diets. Now I wanna talk about a few diets because they're really popular today, and those will be things like paleo and keto based diets. And those are really popular specifically because they completely eliminate and restrict carbohydrates and they increase the fat. Here's another thing that happens in those particular diets. I will be honest, yes, you're gonna lose weight and you're gonna lose weight fast. And I can guarantee, however, you're not gonna be able to sustain that eating plan for a long period of time. But here's what happens in the interim. So you eliminate and reduce all your carbohydrates, great. You lose weight fast, great. But you increase your fat intake. So you start adding things like, oil to your coffee. You start eating like bacon and all these things that they tell you can have on these particular diets. And then what happens is every year we go to our physical and then we get our cholesterol checked, right? So because we're eating all this fat, now cholesterol increases. And when your cholesterol increases, you specifically increase your risk of heart disease and stroke. And heart disease is the #1 cause of death in America. And so we want to make sure that not only are we at a weight that we feel comfortable. Now remember, there's not a weight that's universal for everyone. You get to be at a weight where you feel your best, where you feel energized, you feel strong, you feel good in your clothes, you feel good about how you feel about yourself. That's the ideal weight for you. But in order to get to your weight and to your health goals, you got to think of the whole picture and not just weight loss. So you got to ask yourself, what else is happening in my body when I change and I do these different based diets or restrictive and eliminating based eating habits? So many things are happening outside of just weight loss. So you want to make sure that we're thinking about it in a balanced way. How can I get to a place where I feel really good in my body? My body is feeling completely nourished. I'm feeling strong. And I'm also taking into consideration those health things that are happening inside my body. And I like to call that balanced eating. Okay? So when I talk about dieting, I don't actually use that word ever. I don't even talk about a diet. I say, let's figure out how to do balanced eating. Now, what that is it's fitting all the food you love in a way that makes your body feel good and nourished. That's what we want to do. Now, don't mistake balanced eating for being able to eat anything you want, okay? Because no one can really eat anything they want. I don't care what anybody tells you, nobody can eat what they want. It's a falsehood, it's a fallacy, because everything has an outcome. Everything has an outcome. So you want to make sure that you're doing things that have the outcome of feeling good, having your body feel nourished, and it can lead to health in the future. And so every bite that you eat has an outcome, you guys. So you want to eat quality, real food where your body gets nourished, it gets healthy, and you can prevent and decrease your risk of diseases, okay? Now, if we have an outcome of, well, think about the outcomes when we eat too much or we eat not enough, or we eat limited quality food or lack of nutrient food, or we have, foods that are like packaged and processed that have high sodium. So think about those things. All of those things are going to have an outcome, which could include weight gain. It can include disease or health complications, decreased energy, decreased metabolism, etc. So don't think just because we're talking about balanced eating and we want to learn how to fit it all in that you can just have whatever you want. That is not the message. I want you to remember that everything you put in your body will do something in your body. So choose the things that will lead to outcomes that you're looking for, like increased energy, feeling stronger, maybe losing weight if that's your goal, building muscle if that's your goal, those kind of things. So no one can eat whatever they want and not have an outcome. I'm just being really honest. Even restriction has an outcome, so make sure you're doing this in a way that's balanced. Now, I will admit, if you're doing balanced eating, no, you're not going to lose 30 pounds in a month or 20 pounds in a month, or those high numbers you see when people are on these very restrictive diets. And that's because most people are losing water and muscle tone. That's not what you want to lose. We're trying to lose the excess weight and fat. So just remember, it's not a quick fix. I tell people, how long did it take you to get the weight on? And most people are like, yeah, you probably didn't gain 20 pounds in a month. So how do you expect to get it off in a month? That's just not realistic. And so if it took you a year to get it on, okay, it's going to come off faster than a year. You could probably get it off in 6 months, but everybody wants things now. But if you want it to last long, you're going to make sure you do it in a way that's balanced, because we want to make sure we increase our metabolism or keep it up, right? And we want to stay healthy as well. So instead of dieting, let's focus on balanced eating and creating a space where your life meets balance, okay? So here are the best ways to balance your eating and create a space for weight loss and for, minimized health diseases, for improved health outcomes, for more energy, for getting stronger. Like, these are the places that I would encourage you start. Now, I will say FYI, When you are assessing if you have lost weight successfully, here's your marker. The goal is to have been able to lose the weight and keep it off for 5 years. That is the assessment marker. And I'll be honest, you guys, your Atkins, Paleos, Ketos, South Beaches, all these different diets, they do not have data at the 5-year mark, meaning they can't find people who've lost the weight and kept it off for that long. But when you start to think about changing your lifestyle, that's when people have success in weight loss and healthy living. Okay, so we're gonna stick with balance. So the first and best option that I encourage you to start with is a plan that gives you results, a plan that is sustainable, a plan that leaves you feeling satisfied and not hungry, and that you can turn into a lifestyle. That is the goal when we're talking about balanced eating. What are those things that are going to give me the results I'm looking for, that I can actually maintain and sustain, that I can feel satisfied throughout the day and not feel starving and hungry, and I want to make sure that I can turn this into a lifestyle. So ask yourself this question. If you're currently on a diet, really and truly sit down and ask yourself, can I keep this diet for the long haul? And when I say long haul, I'm talking about for the rest of your life. And if the answer to that is no, then let's do some adjustments to those plans, okay? The second thing you want to think about after wondering, can I follow this plan that I'm currently on forever? The second thing to think about is, what are the most nutrient-dense foods that I like? When I say nutrient-dense foods, I mean real food, y'all. Like fruits and vegetables. I'm talking about your lean meats like, some lean steak or some lean beef or chicken or fish or turkey, those real foods that you can actually talk about where they've come from, and they have limited ingredients. So if you think about real foods, most real foods have one ingredient, the food. So like for instance, an apple, the only ingredient is apple, right? Or spinach, the only ingredient is spinach. Now, what I do encourage is, if you're in the supermarket, a lot of times those foods can be a little intimidating. However, if you're buying packaged products, I would consider a real food that has 5 ingredients or less. Like, I'll give you an example. I would consider bread a real food. And to make bread, you have to add things like water, and you have to add things like salt and like baking powder. And so in those instances, you might have additional ingredients, and it's still considered a real food. So be mindful that when I say real food, I'm saying foods that have 5 ingredients or less. And so find those real foods that you really, really love, and you want to make sure you incorporate them all the time. So I really actually love vegetables. I have a whole farm and a garden. And so I like to try different ways to cook those things. And the ones I really, really do like, I actually eat them all the time because I love them. And like another real food that I love is chicken. I'm sorry, I will never give up chicken wings, y'all. I just can't do it. And I really like to incorporate that a lot. And so find the things that are nutrient dense, especially your fruits and vegetables that you really, really love and you really, really like, and make sure that you include those and in abundance. That's another thing to think about. What do I really like? And then add those foods in regularly, because I don't want you eating things you don't like. This is about balanced eating, right? And so the third thing is, let's focus on our beverages first. And so if you're trying to do your best to get to a place of balanced living, I would think about what you're drinking. A lot of our extra-based calories that put us in a place of unhealthy weight or unhealthy living is what we're drinking. And so if you're drinking things that have calories, even if it's juice or if it's soda or if it's coffee filled with a whole bunch of sugar and cream, I would be mindful about first starting there. Look at those beverages and see which ones you can eliminate and reduce. This is the only time I'm gonna use the word eliminate and reduce, is when we're talking about beverages, because beverages give us no nutrients, but they give us a lot of calories, and they contribute to a lot of health conditions, and they contribute to a lot of weight. So that's the first place I would say look at your beverages and do your best to replace those with water. Yes, I said water. Now here's the thing. Your body cannot effectively move the food through your body without having some kind of liquid, and that liquid is water. And your body is actually 70% water. And so you need to make sure you replenish that regularly because things are happening all through the day. We're sweating, we're talking, we're breathing. All of these things require water. And so you need to replenish that regularly. So even your bloodstream, like your blood's moving through your system all the time, it needs water to stay loose and flow. And so if you're wondering how much water you need, take your weight and divide it by 2. So I'll give you an example. If you weigh 200 pounds and you divide that by 2, that gives you 100, right? And so if you divide it in half, it gives you 100. So that means you need 100 ounces of water a day because you need half your body weight in ounces. This is also going to help with weight loss and dieting. Water is important. So that's number 3. And number 4, instead of eliminating, let's just reduce our portions. And I know a lot of times we talk about carbohydrates when we're talking about dieting. So I specifically want to give you guys some recommendations on how many carbs to have at a meal if you want to do portion control and balance. So what I encourage is at a meal to have 2 portions of carbohydrates maximum. So that is going to be 2 halves of a cup. So a half a cup and a half a cup is 1 cup. Or if you're looking at grams, that's 30 grams maximum. So if you're doing a carbohydrate balanced eating plan, I would encourage between 50 to 130 grams per day of carbohydrates. Now listen at that. So if I'm saying that you can have 30 grams at a meal, that's 30 grams for breakfast, 30 grams at lunch, and then 30 grams at dinner. That's 90 grams for the day. So that's in between the 50 to 130 that I just indicated. And that's considered a low carbohydrate balanced eating plan. You also want to be mindful about the portions of your protein. So your protein are like meats. So that would be like chicken or fish or beef or turkey. You want to use the palm of your hand as your guide. So as long as you have the palm of your hand and the amount of protein, you're within the balanced portion guide. Now you take your own palm and you determine what your palm looks like. So don't take mine because I know mine is smaller because I'm a smaller person in general. So you take your palm and that's how much protein you're going to have per meal. And so instead of eliminating and completely restricting your food, let's talk about how we can fit it all in a way that's balanced so that your body can work effectively and you can keep your metabolism up so you can burn more calories, so you can lose weight, so you can have some balanced eating so your body is working effectively inside. Because your body needs carbs for fuel, your body needs protein for your organ tissue, your body needs fat for hormones and cushioning of those organs so they stay safe. And so every single food group is important and necessary for you to have a balanced life. So instead of focusing on elimination, and I know I completely understand that those type of diets give you very, very quick results, but I'm telling you, in the long haul, you'll find yourself struggling 10 years later to lose that weight. And not only that weight, but 10, 20, 30 plus pounds that you've put on because of your metabolism significantly being reduced because of the dieting. And so just be mindful that balance is important. Balance, balance, balance. So if you ain't heard it anywhere else, you've heard it from me, Tasha Temple, on the Minding My Temple podcast, that balance is key and balance is important. Okay, so that's the truth I have for you guys in this little segment about dieting today. If you have questions, please feel free to email me. You can email me at findbalance@mindingmytemple.com. You can also catch me on Instagram. That's the best place to get me. You can send me a DM if you have any questions. You can find me on Instagram at mindingmytemple. And make sure you always check me out on Wednesdays live on tlscradio.com to hear this. And if you want to see any of these episodes, this one or any past ones, make sure you check out my YouTube page. Just go to the search engine, put in Minding My Temple. Make sure you like and subscribe to that. And otherwise, I'll be here for all your balancing needs for your life every week, giving you more information that's going to be sustainable, that's going to be relatable, and it's going to be realistic. So I'm always keeping it real with you guys. So again, make sure you check out the Minding My Temple podcast every week. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll talk to you guys next week.